YouTube? I'm Aaron from Lone Star Drift and Drift Week, and this is...
I'm Luke Fink from Australia, from Archfield Drift Park and Drift Challenge Australia and other things.
How long have you been drifting?
I actually spoke to a buddy about this the other day, trying to work out when I started. I think it was 2005 or 2006. Closer to 2006 probably.
Now, you've been drifting for decades at this point. What gets you excited? Like, what is gonna get you excited for 2023 to 2025 and keep you drifting? Like, why don't you burn out? What is the path? Because so many drifters burn out, you know, whether it be they want to go pro, they want to do this, they want to do that, they get too involved and everything gets too expensive and they overbuild their car and everything. What has given you such longevity and kept you going for so long, and what is going to keep you going in the future?
I think you hit the nail on the head with overbuilding cars. You know, as much as it's nice to have a really crazy car, it kind of doesn't make sense if you want to drift a lot. And also if you want to have a lot of fun with drifting. If you have a super nice car, you're scared of it, breaking it. You know, if you break it, you've lost months of paycheck. Honestly, as good as those big power builds and all that are, they really aren't as much fun as a basic car. In my opinion, and that's for me. You know, my low-powered stuff, whether it be NA, S chassis, or more these days the Zs. You know, the Zs just make sense. You can barely spin the tires with the amount of power they have. You can dial a ton of grip until you literally are clutch kicking the crap out of second gear just to get it to go. But they end up fast still. You can still have fun with the big power guys, and your tires last forever. And it keeps it cost effective, and when you run into stuff, it's funny. Not funny, but like, you don't have to be as concerned. You know, if I send it too deep and tap the wall, it's like, you know, it's more of a laugh than an S chassis, for instance, where you tap the wall in the same fashion and the whole back of the car's gone.
Drift Week 5 would like to thank these amazing sponsors, including BC Racing Custom Coilovers that have been with us from the beginning, the most supportive coilover company in the United States, ECU Master USA, who is also on this trip and has been supporting these trips from the beginning, NK Wheels, who we absolutely love, and always I run RPF1, so thank you guys. Drift HQ, that brings the support van. We could not do this without you guys. Vapetasia, who is not only on this trip driving with us, but also supporting the trip. A new sponsor, Heatwave Visuals. They support us with awesome eye protection and make rad stuff, including the beanie I'm wearing in these videos. And WhatMonstersDo.com, who makes great content. They support Lone Star Drift. They support our Japan content. You can go and use the Ebisu discount code on their website for a percentage off. Let's get back to the content.
But that gets somebody to year 4, 5, 6, 7 in drifting. You're closer to year 20. What keeps you going to 20 and then 25? You're going to be a quarter of a century doing this soon.
Well, it's interesting because I still drift twice a week. I drift twice a week. One of the things I really enjoy is chasing people that really suck. I mean that in the nicest possible way, but when someone's really sketchy, it's such a challenge to chase them that I actually find that a great challenge. I like that challenge. Like, chasing good people is easy, really easy. You know, like, the easiest people in the world to chase are the guys that are really good, because you know exactly where they're going to be. You can put your car exactly onto their door because you know they're going to be in that particular spot, and you can commit to that knowing that they'll make it. I do quite enjoy the thrill of chasing someone a bit more sketchy, more so in my, you know, my Z cars. But
so if you can find terrible people to follow, you'll get to drift for 20 years.
No, it just keeps
just like,
it keeps it spicy. It keeps it spicy.
Keeps it spicy?
It keeps it spicy. You know, it's exciting. When you don't know what the guy in front's going to do, that's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, you literally have no idea if they're going to make it or not, and you're still committing. And, you know, obviously you know that they're down for it, and I feel like exciting.
If you gave these instructions to people, buy a 350Z and drift it with terrible people, that's what everybody's doing already that's new.
Yeah, good. Keep learning, and they're going to learn. You know, that's the thing, and it'll keep you sharp.
Okay.
And I enjoy that. I enjoy just going.
What's your next crazy recommendation?
Don't take comp seriously ever, like ever. There's no point getting emotional about judging. There's no point, you know, getting super passionate about competition. Like, it's good to be competitive, but at the same time, if you're so competitive that it loses the fun side of it, then it's really not worth it. Like, if I go into a competition these days and it's known for sort of questionable judging and things like that, I'll go in there and just treat it like a demo. To me, it's just a demo. I go there and just want to put on a good show for people, you know, do the things I want to do rather than necessarily what the judges wanted anyway, because I'm only saying this because I recently entered a comp like that. So I just did whatever I wanted to do.
So you said you drift twice a week, plus probably some other events.
Yep.
So that means you drift no less than, what, 100 days a year?
Yeah.
How many people do you think in the world are drifting at that level?
At that many times? On a purely fun basis, probably none.
And how many people are doing it, period? Like, probably Chelsea drifts that much.
Yeah, I'd say
How many people do you think drift that much?
They'd probably be more so, yeah, people like Chelsea's teaching. So it's sort of, you know, you have to do things as a regimented sort of thing. And then you've got people that do sort of ride-along stuff. You know, I know people that in Europe that do ride-along stuff where the water's spraying onto the tyres the whole time. So they still pump a lot of laps out, but it's not the same as sort of freestyling, I guess. So, yeah.
I think I hosted 42 days of track time that we calculated last year, and then I drove a few extra like people's events and like demo type stuff, or like the invitational Adam LZ thing kind of thing. I probably only drift 52 days a year, and that feels like an enormous amount of seat time. It's hard just to keep a car running for that. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Doubling that seems
my Z just, both Zs I've had, I just treated mean.
You also don't have to travel for it because you're at a track.
Yeah, I live 15
minutes. I have to travel no less than a full day for every single one of those things.
Yeah, no,
So that means I'm traveling at least 52 days to go along with that, sometimes longer if I'm going to Portland or something.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's 3 days in each direction.
I'm 15 minutes from my track. My car's already there. I literally have a tyre shop at my track. The only thing that would slow me down is needing fuel. And generally, you know, you only have to get fuel once every sort of 2 weeks.
So what has specifically kept you within drifting? I guess it's you made your life at it kind of thing, where your income came from it and everything else. How long did it take before your income, like, was what kept you going within drifting, if you know what I mean? Like, at what point did you say, I have to do this as my job and my only income, and that's the only thing that's going to keep me going?
Well, it's more so just that I enjoy it, so if I can make it my job without it being my actual job, like driving isn't my job, but I want it to be involved in drifting things, you know what I mean? Like, all my friends are from drifting, everything I do revolves around drifting, you know? So I think that it made sense to be involved with it, and just being around it for so long, you pick up things. You know, I've been to events all around the world, and I like different things, the way people run their events, and to me it made sense to start my own events. And you know, there was some income to be made there, and more than anything it was an opportunity to make drifting better in our country. And then I was a volunteer at the racetrack that I ended up taking over, and it was just the opportunity there to continue drifting at that track. If I didn't take it over, it was going to close down. So it's just that opportunity to be part of it.
In the next 5 years, what's going to change? Like 5 years ago, you weren't doing YouTube, I don't think.
No,
like YouTube
2
is
years
a
ago.
completely new thing.
Yep.
It's probably changed what you've been doing drastically. You weren't doing your own track 5 years ago, or you know, some point you did that. You did that completely new. What is going to be the next thing that completely transforms your drifting life that you didn't see coming 5 years ago? That's
tough. If you told me 2.5 years ago I would be doing YouTube, I would say no way, editing's too hard. You know, if you told me 5 years ago I'd have my own track, I'd tell you you're crazy as well. So it really is interesting where life takes you with drifting. Like, first and foremost, I'm just extremely passionate about drifting, so I want to be around it all the time. And even now, after doing it for so long, I'm still out here ripping today and having an absolute ball. I had the opportunity to drive a new chassis, and I drove Max's supercharged S13 thing, which is a totally different setup S chassis to what I've driven before. So it's all like little challenges, and there's still a lot of different stuff you can do even after all this time to keep it spicy, I guess.
Getting off on a tangent really quickly, this is your new Corvette. How do you like it?
It's really good. I like it. Thank you for selling it to me.
How's it different than an S13? Or, you know, something else that you've been driving for quite some time, or your 350Z, 370Z setup?
I'd say it's actually probably similar to the 370, but more power. More power.
Does it feel like the same grip in the back and all that kind of stuff?
Feels similar. I haven't, because my 370Z is a track-only car, I run like a hell of a lot of toe in, and because we're doing drift week, I've gone, you know, just only a little bit of toe in and stuff like that. So I haven't gone as kill on this setup. So it's different in that sense, but overall it's just a bit more power. Like the Z, this thing feels rather put together versus an S chassis where, you know, you can spend all the money in the world, they still are going to rattle and twist and creak, and there's just noises, you know, when, you know, you get a later model chassis, there isn't a lot of that. They feel just very comfortable and put together, and when you're getting old like us, it's kind of nice.
Going back to the concept of what's the next 5 years going to hold, can you think of anything at all? Like, you can't think of one thing on the horizon?
Making my truck better. I don't know, like it's traveling again. You know, like that's been a real, you know, mood breaker for me. I was traveling every single year, multiple countries doing events, and now, you know, the last 2 years have just been nothing. So this is our first time out of the country again. So there's definitely going to be a hell of a lot more traveling. But as far as what I'm doing, I do not know.
Did it force you to get more creative being at home and not having like the chances to travel abroad, and you had to do more things in Australia?
Yeah, well, the problem for me is I really only started my YouTube channel just before COVID started. You know, so I started the YouTube channel pretty much just before Drift Week 1, and then we arrived back in Australia into COVID. So it was tough, honestly. Like, as much as it's good that I am drifting every week, like, people don't sort of want to watch you do that same thing every single week
at the same track and everything else.
Yeah, people like want new stuff, and that's where I think for a lot of creators, especially in Australia, like, we were just so locked down, you just couldn't go and do anything. So you had to be creative, and I was a person that would a lot of the time, you know, pay for stuff to be done on my cars, where now I'm back to my younger days doing everything, well, not everything myself, doing a good chunk of it myself, and which has been the best thing about the YouTube channel is it's saved me a lot of money because I do all the stuff myself instead of, you know, because it is creating content at the same time, and it also saves money. So it's actually been really good. Cool.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
My legs being sore because I'm old.
Yeah.
Is that one of my kids screaming?
Probably.
Okay.
What is interesting that you've been seeing on this trip so far? Because you haven't been out of the country in a while. Drifting is changing drastically. What are the differences that you've seen in drifting in the United States since last time you've been here? Because Corvettes are a completely blown up thing. Corvettes were not a thing just a few years ago.
A lot of Corvettes. There's a lot of more style come in, I think. Like, a lot of people are, especially today, I saw a lot more nicer cars than I have in previous, you know, events in the States. Everybody's pretty much on the V8 train. Makes sense in the States. Other than that, it's all pretty similar. A lot of guys going a bit crazy on their cars for an event where you're going to be driving it around, but I like that side of it. Like, why not? Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people here at Drift Week, number 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't on Drift Week. They're the locals for this. There's 22 guys that Chris Knapp invited in to partake
I was
in
getting
everything.
so confused. I'm like,
yeah. There's a lot of people that aren't Drift Week people here.
Okay, yeah.
I told him to invite 10, and he's like, I invited 22, but he didn't tell me until today. I was like, holy crap. Because we've never had a line before at Drift Week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was down there stopwatching, and I'm just like, holy cow, like, everybody's sitting in line for 6 minutes or 5 minutes. I was like, that's gonna like freak my Drift Week guys out, because they've never even had to sit in line before.
Well, look, at least it's not hot. It's definitely not hot.
No, it's beautiful.
It's, it's cold. But,
says the guy in shorts.
Yeah, that wasn't my smartest move. We haven't put the thermostat in the car yet, so I've been running the heater.
Okay, cool.
So it makes sense. To me, at least.
Okay.
But no, not a lot's changed. Everything's got a bit more expensive over here, due to whatever. that's a bit more scary, because when I came over in the past, everything, you know, when we came to America seemed fairly cheap, where now it's sort of similar prices to home.
Yeah.
So I think
It's pretty crazy how fast that happened.
Yeah, and I think it would be tough, especially for you guys. Like, it'd be tough because I know like the minimum wage would still be kind of low. So like, you could definitely see.
Are you
why
guys
people
not getting hit with inflation right now?
Yeah, but Australia's sort of lucky enough to be like a higher minimum wage. We sort of earn more, but things are expensive, but we earn more. So yeah, I don't know how it all works out in the end. But now that the States, things have got quite a bit more pricey, it's sort of similar prices to what we're paying at home. Yeah. Amazingly, as much as you guys think your gas is really expensive, it's still really cheap compared to ours. So.
Yeah. Conversely, tires.
Yeah, tyres are expensive here as well.
Tires are crazy right now.
Yeah.
They're hard to get too. Are they like that in Australia?
Here and there it got a little bit tough, but you know, they would sort of let us know that there's going to be a shortage coming up, and we'd just make sure to buy all their tyres.
In Texas, we've had competitions where people would just have to like bow out during the competition because everybody just ran out of tires.
That's
It was like
crazy.
whoever had tires at their last part of the competition.
Hey, how to win? The rich
All right.
guy. The guy
I think
with
we
the money,
covered enough.
The guy
Unless
with the
you have
money
anything else
wins.
to talk about.
No, I'd like to thank Kanzai,
Okay.
to be honest, for getting on board on this
Cool.
trip, and NRG as well. They both helped me out for this one, so I'm pretty pumped. I absolutely freaking love these wheels, and when they were keen to work with me, I got to get a set for myself. So I actually really, genuinely like these.
Well, congratulations. They look good on the car.
I freaking love them.
Awesome.
I'm excited about that.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye.